Good afternoon. My name is Parshwa and today I am going to talk about computer graphics project of 3D animation with OpenGL using C++. Okay, let me introduce with some basic concepts of computer graphics. In computer graphics, we can develop objects in 3 dimension like mentioning the X, Y, and Z plane. For that, we need to use some libraries like I have used OpenGL, the Open Graphics Library, which provides many more functionalities to develop or design the three-dimensional objects. The library GL glue.h provides uh, the actual functions. In this project, the problem was to design the 3D objects like trees, mountains, bus, clouds, and many more. There must be also a menu providing the various functionalities like changing the color of bus, enabling and disabling the fog effect of the entire nature scene, changing the mode from day to night, showing the aeroplane, and displaying the 3D 3 dimension bus model. So how do I solve this problem? I tried to brainstorm that how actually the all scenes, all the objects would look like. So I first tried to visualize the entire scenario. Then I tried to draw one object at a time on the paper, um, providing the 3 dimension like in the XYZ how it would look like. Once I draw on the paper, then I started programming it in the OpenGL using C++. So what approach I used is I first try to draw a one object like only the 3 dimension was, then I try to draw only the aeroplane and so on for the other objects. Then later on I combined all of them together in order to create a cool scenario. So this is the output of my project. Okay, let me show you the actual running program using the OpenGL. So this is the code. So I would explain the main functions and what are the main code, like how the bus can be drawn or what I have used. But first of all, let me show you the actual output. So these are the instruction one can use in order to interact with the project, like by clicking the right mouse button the menu will pop up, like providing various other different modes and effects. One can use the keyboard while in bus model mode, in which only the bus would be displayed. By pressing X, Y, or Z, it will rotate in the corresponding axis, like into X, Y, or Z directions. By pressing A, S, or Q, the size of the object can be increased or reduced uh, in the X, Y, or Z direction. U and F keys can be used in order to change the view of the camera, and the arrow keys are used to move the bus in the bus model mode. While we are in the bus driving mode, one can use the Y key to rotate around the y-axis and U and F key for the camera view. For now, if we press the space bar, it will directly go into the bus driving mode. So this is the entire scene where the bus is moving, and the entire scene like trees, mountain, road, and all other objects. Yeah, one more thing, while you are viewing this video, there might be you will looking like it is lagging or the all objects are moving slowly, but this is the restriction of recording the video. So actually it is uh, very fluent, or there is no such lagging. Okay, so moving on, by clicking on menu, let us see one by one. By clicking on the aeroplane, the plane moves from one side to another. We can use the fog effect. It will actually display how the entire scene would be if there is the fog type weather. And by clicking it again, it will disable it. We can also change the color of the bus, like to red or any other of from here listed, like brown, right? We can also go into the night mode, like it would change the entire scenes into the night, toggling back to day mode. We can also rotate around the axis by pressing Y. Like you can also see, this is the three-dimensional bus from the back. Y. We can also change the view of the camera, like pressing the F, it will zoom in, while pressing the capital F or shift F, it will zoom out. We can also use the U key. While pressing U, it will move the camera down. By pressing the capital U, it will move the camera upward. Okay, let me show you the three-dimensional bus, only the three-dimensional bus, and uh, do the scaling, rotation, and other operations like bus model mode, right? So by pressing by pressing Y, it will rotate in Y direction, and in the in the anti-clockwise by pressing X in the X direction, and you can see how the three-dimensional bus it is. And by pressing Z, it will move into Z directions, right? See, we can also change the size. We can scale the object, like scaling is simply just increasing or decreasing the size of the object. So by pressing S, it would increase the size of the bus in the Z direction, and by pressing the capital S, it will decrease the size of the bus in the Z direction. Similarly, for by pressing A, it would change the size in Y direction, and similar for by pressing Q, it will change the direction size of the object in X direction. Here also we can zoom in, zoom out, like pressing the capital F will zoom out the object, pressing the F will zoom in. Similarly, by pressing the U button will move up the camera, while pressing the capital U will move it down. Okay, so let me move back to the code and explain you the some of the major functions or the major codes. Like this is the transform and initialization function, where we set our viewport and the screen of our output. So here the display string is the method which I have used in order to uh, display the strings in various fonts, like Times New Roman 24 or the different other fonts. Where display text content method is the one which uses the display string in order to display the mentioned string with the font type specified. Draw different scenes method is the one where all the rendering process are done over here. So this portion will display the text, the instruction which are provided to the user, and the entire else portion will actually render the three-dimensional objects. This is the code where the fog effect can be toggled, like if the flag is set to 1, the fog effect will be enabled, otherwise it will be disabled, right? From here we can see the coordinates of the bus are being started. Like I have used chords, GL chords, which are when we provide the four vertex, it is actually the four corners of the rectangle, and by providing it, it will draw the uh, uh, rectangle type shape. So I have divided the bus into various parts. Like from here it starts the front body of the bus, then it would the middle part, then later on the back part of the bus. From here it starts the window of the bus, uh, rendering the windows, right, and providing the various colors over here would change the color of the bus, right. From here the surroundings like roads and the the green the green grass are drawn with the help of this code. For the sun I have used the glued solid sphere, which is quite simple. By specifying the radius and the and slices and stacks, we can easily draw a sphere like shape. For this is the code for aeroplane, cloud, mountains, trees. So I cannot explain it in detail like each and every code. Okay, let me show you. So this is the code for the wheels, the different wheels that are being shown of the bus. So this is yeah, keyboard function is the important one, which handles the keyboard events like pressing the different keys like Y, space bar. It would handle all of them and what we need to perform. So this handles the keyboard events. Special function is used to handle the keys like pressing the left arrow or right arrow key. We need to use this special function. The my menu function handles the event of clicking in. It creates the menu interactive, like if we click on the fog effect, which let's say its ID is 3, then it will toggle the flag. Like if it is enabled, then it will disable the fog effect, otherwise vice versa. This is the color menu, which sets the different colors by clicking different menus. Yeah, the group timer function is one of the important function. It This function actually calls the timer function itself recursively after some specific time. So what time? So here we specify the time like in milliseconds. So every 1000 milliseconds it will be called 60 times. So every second 60 times. So it is actually 60 frames per second. Similarly for cloud, bus, and yeah, this is the main function from where the execution starts. And this are the glued display function is the function which renders the entire scene, entire output of our program. This is the keyboard function, special function. Actually this here the event functions are mapped to the actual events. This is the menu. Glued main loop function is actually used to call the entire program in a loop, like means the when the user is not interacting with the program, it must be refreshed, right? So this function calls the entire program in the loop. So this was all the code about. Okay, now let me move back to the presentation. Okay, so there are some future work that can be done, like adding more and more objects like house, motorcycle, and other objects, and also providing users other different modes like uh, whether the user is in cities or town or any nature view, and other types of modes we can give to the user. For instance, in the city mode we can uh, cities mode, like we can add the traffic lights, cars, and provide an interactive graphics where by pressing and some keys the traffic lights turn to green, yellow, and red, and similarly the cars stop according to the lights. We can also add some scenarios like man is waiting at the bus stop for the bus to arrive, and then similar other different scenes through which we can create it more interactive to the users. So all after summing it all up, I developed some the 3D objects and then combining it all together, making it a good animation in 3 dimension using the OpenGL Glut library. So I successfully created the working demo. So this is what all about. These are some references from where I really learned some examples in order how to do uh, some things or draw some objects using some functions using this reference link. And finally, I would thank you, Professor, for giving me a chance in order to present my project in front of you. Thank you very much.